troglodytes talk about...
Troglodytes. Troglodytes talking about troglodytes.
Talking about troglodytes and everything in between.
I guess, welcome to Talking Crit, I think is what I was going to call it. Working name. Maybe.
Troglodyte talks.
I think we're just going to restart.
No, you gotta leave it in.
Oh, God. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the most iconic monsters in D&D. Going down different ones. We've got a couple notes each. I guess we should introduce ourselves. I'm the only one that's uploaded anything to the channel, so I'm CJ, obviously. I do everything. I do all the editing and stuff. He says imagine.
I say imagine. I'm Zach. You guys probably know me as the one that carries the streams. So, other than that, just look out for me. Know who I am. Remember the name.
I'm Josh. I'm the one that never shows up on time or to anything. So you probably won't see much of me. Yes, that too. Yeah. I usually am the DM.
Yeah. So, or one of us. Zach's going to be DMing soon. You haven't DM'd in 5th edition yet, have you?
I DM'd a 5th edition campaign where we didn't know anything about what was going on. Like literally 100% of that was homebrewed. So, I'm going out like off the books, but a lot of it is just kind of like something that the story is what I wrote.
My extent of DMing is a couple homebrew campaigns when, for a while there, we're jumping back and forth week to week between the two of us, and not a good formula. Nothing gets accomplished. And then Josh has DM'd for
a while. I started mainly didn't know what I was doing. Everything from like 2E is what we started on to up to 5E. And the last few campaigns are where we really started to get our act together and get into the rule. Yeah. Dust off the rule books and actually read.
Snap all the characters you write.
Yeah, when my players
again.
do a terrible job at everything. The one time I tried to railroad a campaign for 5 minutes.
Are there any windows, Josh?
that was punishment. That was punishment. That would be a good topic.
Talking about windows in an inn?
No, talking about
I'm pretty sure
what
Ursula
happens
would like to say something about
when
that.
you do stupid shit and your players don't expect any bad thing to happen to them.
I don't expect architecture to go out the window.
What window?
You never asked.
Long story short on that one, he was being kidnapped and he asked if there was any windows and apparently there's not. And
no, I didn't ask.
He assumed there was a window.
Yeah, you assumed. You never asked.
Yeah, in my inn room.
You had him roll a perception check to see if you could see the
I had
window.
to roll a perception check.
See if there's a window.
Room clearly lit that I've been in before.
Did you ask if it was clearly lit? You never know.
Imagine.
You didn't.
Imagine.
Yeah. Imagine.
Anyway, back on track. I've only really played 5e. I played a little bit of 4th edition, and it's not very good.
No.
So I'm not really focusing on anything from that. Most of the stuff that I'll bring up is 5th edition monsters. I think that's about where we've all kind of been.
Yeah.
But there's an article I'll link in the description below that had 10 of the most iconic D&D monsters. So we're going to discuss those and see if we agree or not. Ooh. The first one on there was a beholder, which I don't disagree with that. It's on the front of the monster manual for a reason.
I was waiting.
It's kind of one of the big boys of Dungeons and Dragons. There's usually one in every campaign.
Yeah.
I've never ran one as a DM. I did a mind witness, but I never did an actual beholder. I heard you ran one time.
I did in a one-shotted, what was he playing? Paladin.
Cleric or Paladin, one of the two.
Yeah.
Something it shouldn't have done, but it did.
Well, it landed a natural 20.
Yeah.
And it beamed him right in the fucking head.
They can be nasty. Now the mind witness I did, I don't think it got a fucking hit in because you guys are the luckiest sons of bitches when it comes to fighting the big bads.
Wasn't there a wizard in that one?
Yeah,
it's
the current campaign that we're ending pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Jacob hit it with a nuke or something and then ended it. We'll talk about homebrewed items being unbalanced later.
Yeah.
But yeah, Beholder, I said, is definitely an iconic Dungeons & Dragons monster, if not one of the most iconic, at least anymore. I mean, there's chibis and thrown t-shirts everywhere for anything Dungeons & Dragons related. After that is a Displacer Beast. I've never ran one as a DM, and the only time I fought one as a player, he almost fucking killed me with it. So,
yeah.
But it is something that I see a good bit in Dungeons & Dragons things, most campaigns. I mean, it's a panther with tentacles, to an extent. I don't know much on Displacer Beasts.
Oh, they can...
It's...
What is it? You have to hit them before you can actually hit them?
The biggest thing about that, it's in page 81. That's why I brought the book, so I could look up stuff when we got into...
Imagine not being prepared.
Yeah, right. It's got the displacement and avoidance. Both these make it pretty hard to hit. It projects the magical illusion, which you can actually make a cloak of displacement. That's why I asked you why you guys didn't skin it.
It's true. I skinned a wolf and was wearing it, but I didn't skin I did not know that was a thing.
If you did it the right way, it still would have retained, because it has some sort of magical properties that allow it to do that.
I think we just beheaded it. I think that was the extent that we went to on it.
Yeah.
I know there was, 3 of them in that fight?
Four.
And everybody went one way and I went the other, and the board did not almost make it out of that one.
See, I think it's not just that, it's a really decently balanced monster
it's about the right level.
For being CR3,
if I wasn't the only one fighting that one, it wouldn't have posed as much of a threat. But literally everybody, including my pet, went north and I went south.
Well, I think
bit
that's
off Monikachu.
That's the whole thing. Like, they don't seem that hard to hit, but the displacement comes back after a certain amount of time being hit. So once you hit it, it still has to roll its saving throw, yada yada yada, and it makes it a whole lot harder to fight these alone.
Yeah, definitely.
A whole lot harder. I mean, armor class is only 13.
I think I dropped down to 5 hit points or something like that, and then Jake just comes over and stabs it, because it was I had 8 at 5 also, and he just stabs it, and I'm like, what was so hard about that?
It's always fun to throw into a coliseum where players are trying to make money, so you're just okay, well, you can make money, but
if they're lower level. Yeah. If they're lower level, because it's only CR3.
Yeah.
And a 20th level party is not going to even look at that thing once without it
You
dying.
need a few of them. You need a few of them and some layer actions, and you'd have to kind of buff its stats big time. After that is it's more of a fight. The next one is a mimic, which I think that just kind of, especially after Dark Souls now, it's kind of had a resurgence in popularity. It's kind of the DM's kit to kind of give a big fuck you to the party that's all about loot.
Yeah. I think it came about as being a lesson. I mean, from the few times I've DM'd, everyone runs to the chest or loots first.
Yeah.
And doesn't ask questions, and that's where it works the best. It just,
as long as you don't overdo it, because if you're throwing mimics left and right, the party's going to be walking around with 10-foot poles, poking every door and chest.
Or goblins.
Yeah.
I threw a mimic at Jake once,
goblins.
And I think he almost died.
Well,
he wasn't happy about me throwing a mimic in there.
You didn't even, when it came down to it, there's more to it.
Yeah.
As soon as you touch it, it has the adhesive ability.
Yeah, so once you touch it, you're stuck. I think, was it a strength check to get off? Or it has you grappled and can you're fucked at that point. I still like the Mimic Gazebo that's been going around as a homebrewed monster. I've kind of wanted to use it. I thought about throwing it into the Winter Splendor that we did, which video's half done for that. Maybe next Christmas.
Well, the thing with that is it doesn't need to be, you know what I mean, taken. It's not just a chest. It's a
yeah, it could be anything.
Yeah, it's just.
There was in the campaign that we are now ending. There was about 3 of them that you guys walked by and different things. Surprisingly, you guys did, like the cave underneath. What was she? A Kelpie, I think, is what I homebrewed into. Mm-hmm. There was a mimic down there, but it was actually a friendly one that you guys could have tamed. That would kind of take the shape of like a hat and.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. He's down there with your first character.
Won't be the last one to die.
No.
Wasn't the first, that's for sure.
But I would definitely say a mimic is a iconic Dungeons and Dragons creature.
Yeah, they're like everywhere now.
Yeah.
Like Dark Souls uses them. Oh my god, Dark Souls uses them.
Next on the list is our Rust monster, which I only have like a baseline knowledge of. I've never actually tried to use it in anything. I just know it like corrodes and makes your weapon, if it's, I think it's non-magical weapons and armor, useless. That's about the extent that I know of a Rust monster. So I wouldn't necessarily call it iconic just because it's not something that you see.
See, here's the thing is I have never even heard of a Rust monster.
No?
Nope.
No. And you probably haven't. The only time I've ever had heard of it was Critical Role. They used it once. And it isn't that big of a threat, if you get what I mean.
It looks like a giant tick.
It might be for a low level. Yeah. Maybe for a low level party.
But that's only if you fight it.
Its challenge rating is only 1/2, so it's not.
But the whole point of a Rust monster is to erode gear.
Mm-hmm.
To get rid of gear. Unless you take a swing at it, it's not going to focus on you as a person. It's just going to rust your gear. That's all Rust monster wants.
Non-magical. Non-magical. That could have been a solution to some of the magical items I gave you guys if it took.
And you can always homebrew it.
That's true. You can homebrew it. That's a very good DM tip.
Mm-hmm.
After that is one that I would definitely say is iconic, just because I've wanted to use it so many ways, but I haven't yet. The gelatinous cube.
Ugh.
At this point too, it's kind of almost like the Mimic and the Beholder, to the point where it's been used in a lot of media and T-shirts and things like that. Like, I saw one guy suggested, if you ever think there's a gelatinous cube in a room, paint rocks white with little black pupils on them and toss them in. You gotta Google gelatinous cube. That'd be a fun mini to make.
It would be.
But
no one really knows just how dangerous they are, and it's not the only
10-foot cube of death, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, homebrew DMs that like to be dicks, they'll make 10-foot wide, 10-foot tall caverns. Like you're walking down in this dungeon, and then it just sneaks up behind you and just sloshes through.
If you're ever playing and the DM is stressing that the room is 10 foot wide, you might want to watch out.
Well, you don't even have to do that as a DM. Nope. It has a feature called transparent.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't make a successful wisdom check of 15, you can't see it. You can't even see
the only giveaway
the
of,
huge cube.
Like I'm pretty sure the only giveaway is the floating shit in them.
If it has it in there.
Yeah.
It might not have eaten in that long. There's plenty of ways to play with it to make it harder to fight.
I've seen a lot of people use it like directly below a trap door, so they go down in the trap door and they just plop into it, and then you gotta try and escape it. Because it doesn't instantly kill you, right? It takes...
No, it takes a while.
Engulf.
It's got the engulf.
It pushes you. Yeah, okay. So it's not an insta-death. I know there's some scarier versions of it, too. Like is the ochre jelly harder, or...
if we're looking at CR, I think the worst one is the black pudding.
Yeah.
Being challenged for. Of the oozes.
Yeah.
So there's only like 4.
Some other versions of it. But if you want to die to Jello, throw it in your campaigns.
It's not a bad monster.
No, it's a fun one.
Because if it teaches your characters how to move correctly and whatnot, I think it's important to the game to have monsters like that. You don't want to be able to steamroll it every time, or you're not getting an enjoyment out of it. Like I think the best monsters I like to throw you guys are the ones that are going to challenge you at where you're at.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not having a hard time, it's not as fun to me.
I tried to do that. And I threw, like, you guys were like level 3 or something. I threw a freaking elemental at you guys, and it didn't get a hit in. Between lucky rolls and Connor's cleric was broken as fuck. I reiterate, I said this in the freaking tier ranking video. For some reason, his cleric, without using the magical item I gave him, was still broken as fuck. Long story short, clerics are broken.
Yeah, they're meant to be strong early because they don't get as much later. I mean, they get some pretty sweet abilities depending on which cleric you get.
Just like Fireball's meant to be broken just because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun for the players.
Yeah.
Very fun.
For the players.
Fun for the players.
Well, fun for
That's-
some players.
That's when you can throw harder stuff. You
Other
just gotta
party
throw it out.
members, if put in the hands of, someone who doesn't care about their teammates.
That's true. He did wipe half the party's health with a lightning bolt.
Okay, that wasn't Fireball, though.
No, it wasn't Fireball.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
After that, we have the Owlbear.
Oh, Owlbears.
Which, again, is one that they've been using a lot, I think, for, like, plushies and some other stuff. I do like that it's classified as a monstrosity, though, so you can't actually get it as, like, a... Without homebrewing, you can't really use it as a pet for Hunter. Beastmaster Hunter. Well, Ranger.
Well, it used to be that you could. It used to be, like...
Is that past editions?
In earlier editions, there's some way, shape, or form. As long as you converse with your DM, always do that, guys. Always talk to your DM. It's not gonna hurt if he says yes or no. It's a game. Get over yourselves. Like, just ask. The worst thing they can say is no. I mean, and as there's DMs looking for monsters to use, be lenient. Think about it. If it's going to help your players, have fun, do it.
I recommend giving either... I've seen Owlbear and Displacer Beast come in popularity with players. If they're playing a Ranger, give them something fun like that, because Ranger is like the most bland class if you're just playing purely Player's Handbook. Like, if you're not using outside Unearthed Arcana and stuff, for some reason it's just underwhelming. Like, they don't have the equivalent of Fireball or the Cleric's early games. They're shoot some arrows, and that's the extent of your turn.
Yeah.
So give them some fun creatures, because the creatures don't really get stronger over time.
Yeah.
Once they're past like level 5, it's going to be about the equivalent if you gave them a bear, just to be a little relevant longer.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, it's. I think you're right. That's where homebrew is a little bit important. I don't think it should be on the iconic list, though. Frankly.
Not like fully iconic. I think it's got a resurgence in popularity recently, though, between, like I said, merchandising and plushies and.
I think Owlbears
just
like one of the most, even people who don't play D&D, like they know Demogorgon because of Stranger Things, which I bet they don't even know this from D&D.
I think they play. Are they actually playing D&D in that show though?
I've
never actually.
They
seen
were
it.
in like the first episode, and it came up a few other times, but I don't think that's like something a lot of people paid attention. I mean, D&D is like become so big.
Yeah, it's not nerdy to play D&D.
It's not like
it's
weird to play.
It's
anymore.
still nerdy, but not as.
It's not.
It's
weird,
not get beat up nerdy. It's It's like, oh, you're quirky nerdy. Yeah. Next, Lich. I don't know necessarily that'd be necessarily it. D&D iconic, yes, but more so just kind of fantasy iconic.
Yeah.
Just like anything, and the examples that immediately pop into my mind, I know are heavily influenced by D&D, so it's a bad example. So I would just say yes, D&D iconic, but more so fantasy and lore wise iconic. So like first things that popped into my head was like World of Warcraft, games like that, but they're very heavily D&D and Lovecraftian themed, which Lovecraftian we'll get into later, the Mind Flayer also, which was kind of the theme of the campaign you guys were just in to an extent. They are fun, especially when they can grapple somebody. If you pair them with Intellect Devourers, if the Intellect Devourers can actually hit.
But going back to the Lich, there's just a whole lot you can do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be your big bad. It could be a way to lead to the big bad. It could just be a really weird side quest. Fun one-shots. Liches could be used for anything.
A lot of players like to try to work towards Lichdom too.
Yeah,
so it can be an overarching character arc.
Yeah, but that's a whole lot of...
You gotta be the Lich King.
It takes a long time to set to that. Yeah.
That's like a year-long campaign of just working at that. But if that's what you're into, by all means. Make your DM have a hard life.
Seems to be a running theme.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which one of us are DMing, it seems to be a running theme. Next on their list was the Drow. I know, I enjoy the Drow, and I would say yes, but I've read The Legend of Drizzt and that kind of stuff. Otherwise, they're just dark elves from anything. I mean, thanks Tolkien.
Everybody hates them, though.
I know everybody hates high elves.
No, like, in game.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Unfortunately, they are a minority, yeah.
I think that goes back to the
old days.
Not the old days.
Old days.
But
The
what
old
the
days.
point you just brought up is like it's not just D&D.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of fantasy. Dark
Elder
elves are
Scrolls.
all over
Mm-hmm.
fantasy games and novels, whatever. Just fantasy, the genre itself. That's what makes them iconic. But I wouldn't call them an iconic D&D monster.
No, I would say they're more thanks to Tolkien. Just the various degrees of elves.
Mm-hmm.
I would kind of draw back to that more so than just Dungeons and Dragons created.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's even a playable race. Like it's not even that much of a monster
Mm-hmm.
as just something you can find.
Unless
in D&D.
you're doing a Underdark campaign, in which case they're going to be pretty
yeah,
prevalent.
Yeah.
But then you're looking more at like Driders and stuff like that after a while too.
Which are all dark elves.
Yeah, so dark elves cursed by Loth, yeah, Spider Queen.
Yeah.
Drow have really cool lore though. If you ever, I recommend the Legend of Drizzt series audiobooks. Audible gives us a sponsorship, please. After that was the Mind Flayer.
Weird
segue.
Weird flex, dude.
Yeah, the Mind Flayers, the Squidmen, Eat Your Brains. I would say they're more so a product of Dungeons and Dragons, I would say,
Yeah.
but they're very heavily based in Lovecraftian, like Cthulhu lore, which is also good stuff. If you ever need ideas for campaigns, there's a lot of just borrow from other fantasy, because chances are your players, not every single one of them would know about it.
But don't steal from
No,
others.
don't steal from it
Yeah.
completely, but you can very easily get inspiration from things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like Cthulhu himself, I believe he's in some of the books, referenced as an outer god patron or outer patron.
You can find them homebrewed as something
Yeah,
to fight.
stats. Yeah,
You can find the stats.
yeah.
You can use them.
And the last one on their list was the Tarask, which I know we disagree on this one. I say yes, that it is. You say no.
No, I don't think it is.
Why do you think no?
It's not even like. How many times when we have a D&D conversation does it come up?
How many times
People
do we
who
make to
play.
level 20?
Well, that's not even the point. When you look at a Tarask, the Tarask is meant to literally level campaign.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you can't beat.
It's more of a puzzle monster.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you try to stop from happening. When the Tarask comes, it literally says, "This, are you ready for the apocalypse? Because this is the apocalypse. This is where your campaign ends. If you let this thing out and your players try to fight it,
Put it back to sleep.
it dies.
And
Well,
see-
good luck doing that."
See, you like what you just said kind of proves my point though too, to an extent, because it's known as like in D&D, this is the final boss.
This is the end game.
This is we're in the end game now.
Yeah.
It's the Thanos of D&D, as in like good luck fucking killing it. Like I would argue the Kraken then too, to an extent. It's like just a little lesser version of the Tarask.
Well, there's a
Also could be a campaign wipe easily.
Yeah. Death Knights, another nice one. Any ancient dragons.
I like how on their list, dragon is not on as an iconic Dungeons and Dragons monster.
But in that, I was going to bring something up, hoping that they were on the list, and they weren't, and that kind of got in my skin. But I would only say that the chromatic dragons are iconic. The color, not the metal. There's two different kinds of dragons. You have your chromatic and your metallic. Metallic are good, chromatic are evil. And that's why anytime you see it, even in fantasy, you're fighting the big bad chromatic dragon. There are very few times where you go and talk, oh hey, Mr. Dragon, can you not fucking burn my face off? It doesn't happen very often.
There's a bard in the group, and then they're just gonna seduce the dragon.
Try and seduce it.
Yeah.
Try.
Sometimes it works. Other times you get your dick bit off. That's just the risk you take. In real life and in fantasy.
The risk you take for dragon puss.
It's the Lord Boblin's experience.
Oh god. Was there any others that you can think of off the top of your head that you'd call iconic?
I wrote them down.
Oh wow, he's prepared.
I tried a little bit. See, I even had dragons, not
Check
metallic.
Dragons.
Rawr. What about them?
Because I'm a big history fan, so I like adding historical stuff from the real world into games. So, and I think they did do a pretty good job of pulling stuff from mythology into a monster manual to add them. I think
like the Gorgon and
Banshee. That was the first one I was going to bring up. Is the Banshee out of like Celtic in that sort of mythology? I think the Banshee just it shows up quite a bit, enough
it's
to
prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I can agree with that. I don't necessarily see it as much as a D&D invention though. Is it something that actually came in D&D?
It was one of the first. It was in
the first monster
manual.
It
was in one of the first monster manuals. At least first or second editions. It was one of those monsters that you better not run into. Yeah. And if you do, you better be prepared.
Fifth edition even.
They are still scary for certain like mid to low parties. Yeah. They're terrifying. In fact, that's why I haven't actually thrown any of you guys. I've wanted to. It's just I didn't know if it was going to be something that I could throw at you guys, and
like your Bahir that you threw at us.
Yeah, but that was in
the arena. That was more so. We kind of used the arena just to use monsters that were not going to fit into the campaign otherwise.
Well, you could. It's just it would be very, very hard to do that.
Unless you're kind of set in the Underdark for that one. Yeah. Banshee, I could agree with though. I could see it because you don't see it too prevalent in other things. The only things I can really think of. I think there's Banshees in Fable.
If you watch Supernatural, there's Banshees in that, but who really watches that show very often?
Of course, like World of Warcraft, but again, that's heavily Dungeons and Dragons influenced and whatnot.
That's what I mean.
So, yeah,
like,
I can see
it's there.
Yeah.
It's just no one talks about it.
I could agree with that one.
That much.
Do you have any others, Zach, too?
What basically every dad above 40 has on tattooed on his arm or leg. The flame skull.
Oh.
Now, if you want to just fuck your entire party up, right? Like, I don't like these two. During my campaign, I don't want them to play the characters that they've spent so much time on. What am I going to do? I'm going to throw some flame skulls at them. I mean, they've got a challenge rating 4, so your character's kind of like developed by that point. 3 or 4.
Are you talking about a death tyrant?
No.
The flame skull
is actually a thing. You didn't know?
No, I thought
it's been used in Critical Role.
Oh, I have seen them.
Link in the description.
Link in the description to flame tyrant. Maybe.
And basically,
134.
Something really cool about them is that they get 1/3 level spell slot, and that spell slot is for Fireball.
Oh God.
So
he's getting ready to DM the next campaign.
3 level 3, 4, maybe even 5. Just throw a fireball at him, and that's a team kill.
Rogues have avoidance, right?
You at a certain level.
Yeah. I hope so.
And that provides like a challenge of adversity. Also, fun fact: unless you pour holy water on it after you kill it, it comes back in an hour.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Yep. Good to know now. It doesn't mean our characters.
Oh yeah, it's true. We don't really metagame that much.
It's not easy to kill either.
No.
If you look at its stats,
Wait, AC of 14?
AC of
13.
13.
13.
In here, it might be a little bit different on there.
No, I was just going off memory.
Resistances to lightning, necrotic, piercing, immunities to cold, fire, and poison.
It can't
And
be charmed,
condition, yep,
frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, or prone.
because it is literally just a floating flaming skull. It's got a good move speed, 0 walking, but it can't be prone, so it doesn't matter. 40 flying. 40 can keep you well far away from.
Yeah, most characters top out with 35, 30. So yeah, you're not getting away.
Also, when you cast Fire Ray as a Flame Skull, he gets to use it twice. 3d6.
I have a feeling we're gonna have to watch
fire
out for
damage.
these.
They're a very nasty monster.
Yeah, especially for the challenge rating they're at.
So they're only a 4. That's
Yeah.
not too bad then.
It might be, but like
But you toss
4
a
level
fireball.
4 CR monsters makes it a whole lot harder.
Your
Yeah.
rogue and monk are the only ones that are making it.
It's true. That is
Especially
very
if your
true.
characters don't know what to do against it, or you don't know as a player don't know what to do against it. Yeah, that's a rough time. Where you're sitting there thinking,
Be a real
what the hell
dick
are we
move
fighting?
if DM threw that at someone.
It's a real dick move when they throw a puzzle at you that does nothing to you.
Real dick move.
We don't like puzzles in our games. They don't.
We do. We do, but we like the game he threw puzzles at us. I was supposed to be playing the stupid character, so it was kind of hard.
Yeah, but that's the fun about it. Is like
That's
being
why
able
he
to-
ended up as a
Yeah.
1 level wizard, barbarian with a level of wizard, all for prestidigitation.
What else did you bring anything, or did you just?
I've just got a few in my head, but you've kind of got them there too, like the succubus and incubus. I could see that too very easily. Another one that I haven't actually got to use, the flumph. That one's, for some reason, that one has a cult following recently.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't really call it iconic, but for some reason it's like everybody thinks it's adorable. But it's only got a 1/8 challenge rating. I don't even know what they do.
They
I
put a
think
lot
they're
of shit to
psionic
it.
maybe is why they could be dangerous.
No.
Psionic siphons. Siphon mental energy.
That's just how they eat. But there's no
Yeah.
ability in here that. Yeah, there's no ability saying that. Most of their stuff is the tendril, and there's once a day stench spray with a DC 10.
I'll have to
You roll a 20
research
for
a
it.
flumph.
I mean, that would be good for a bunch against a low party. Maybe being able to have a conversation with it because it's got an above average intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's not too hard of a monster. It could be an interesting role play aspect to your game, which is always nice to have if you're into that. If your players aren't murder hobos. Just saying. Just saying.
When you start killing children, you're a murder hobo.
Yeah.
Okay. I was in character.
It's true. I long story short on that one, he was kind of playing his character as a bit of a dick, so I'm like, okay. I approached him outside of everybody else. I'm like, all right, do you want to be like one of the big bads at the end, earn their trust, and 20 sessions down the road you're going to turn on them? He immediately wipes half their HP the next session.
Which one?
He was very, very...
It was on accident. They were standing in water.
Go back to he murdered a child is what triggered me to be like, you want to be one of the big bads at the end?
Okay. Child was like, make the dancing stop, because she had these magical shoes on. My character? Okay. Witch bolt. Snipe.
Shoes wouldn't come off, so he cut her feet off too.
Problem solved.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Listen, I like to
You
think
didn't.
of myself
You,
as
could,
an
you didn't even
innovator.
try anything else. Like you.
Why would I? I'm wasting time at that point.
That's true.
I said I'm gonna take the shoes off. They don't come off. Okay.
Effective. Get shit done quickly.
Yeah, I don't have time to waste.
No.
We're already doing the sessions for what, like
Right.
8 hours? So
Yeah, that's true. Back then we were doing very long sessions. We started
Yeah,
what,
that
6?
was-
And
we
we
gotta
got
get that
2
train
p.m.
rolling.
Yeah,
6 till
2. 3.
2, 3. One time I played until 5.
That was a rough night.
That was
I had to work at 9 that morning. It was a rough night.
But it was a fun campaign.
Very fun campaign. We keep pressuring him to bring it back, but we fucked it, so.
No. He fucked
Yes. No.
City's in peril, so we fuck off to leave. He uses a drag to turn us around. We bullshit our way through killing that, and then,
time for another video.
yeah,
That would be another video.
We need to just discuss that campaign in general. What else do you have here? Hags and witches?
Well, they are
Or
witches.
yeah.
You have your mom
that's-
on there?
What is it? Yeah.
Insert oof.
Yeah.
See, yeah, there's hags can be
That's-
pretty good.
That's definitely more fantasy, though. But I think D&D helped put a face to it because it was more like myth, and no one really knew that much. And D&D was like, "Hey, we'll do what we can to make these people that use magic."
Helped popularize the more like spell casting and less like evil green. I'll get you my pretties.
Yeah.
Image of the witch.
the Wizard of Oz
Yeah.
version of the witch to the disgusting, ugly ridden terrors that D&D brings.
Trolls. Yeah.
Trolls.
Not the internet kind.
Yeah, not the internet kind that are watching this video, writing
Yeah,
terrible
so-
things about.
Jake. I know you click on these occasionally.
Yeah.
But yeah, trolls. Specifically because their trolls have the regeneration mechanic. Whereas a lot of trolls in games don't.
Mm-hmm. Unless
so they've
they're
kind
hit
of
with
got their own iconic.
if
Yeah,
they're-
flames.
if they're hit with flames, then
Yeah.
that does. It makes it a whole lot harder for us.
But I think that's also kind of is that kind of a Tolkien thing too, though? Like Lord of the Rings, or is that more?
I don't remember it being that much of a Tolkien thing.
Oh,
I don't know if it's ever addressed in the movies, but I can't remember if it is in the books
Trolls?
or not. Yeah.
Not really.
No.
I don't think.
Maybe I'm wrong. Probably am. Happens a lot. There's another good one: will-o-wisps and whites.
I brought both of these up.
Mhm.
The Will-O-Wisp being more fantasy, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Fantasy based. D&D gave them a name and started to really
The more
grow them
the more
into,
evil aspect of them too.
Yeah. because these are from myth
Mhm.
again. I think they're fun to mess with. Challenge 2 could be hard for a low level party.
Yeah. I almost killed my druid off by eating one as a crocodile as a druid form.
Yep,
Did not end well.
they aren't good things. And then the wit, think
The white.
thanks.
Yeah.
I think the wit.
With music.
I was talking about Zach. All the wit that comes out of
Yeah.
Zach.
Yeah. Imagine.
Imagine, dude.
Kind of the sentient, smart zombies.
Well, that's what they just Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
They
the
just
White Walkers.
really
Yeah.
They used a different
have to.
version or name for it.
Mhm.
They said, "Hey, this is not a zombie; it's a White Walker." So it's not what it's actually called. Good job, there, Game of Thrones, for doing that one. And the season finale
Series finale.
doesn't matter.
It does matter. Big
We're
difference.
dating
You can
this
recover.
video.
You
Not
can,
now.
you can recover from the season finale with a better season later. Can't recover from a bad series finale.
They did end it in a way that nothing could come back. They did end it to where it's not coming
They're
back.
getting a bunch of spin-offs. So.
That's not surprising anymore.
Yep, imagine that.
Imagine. Do you have any others?
I was gonna say Hydra.
Hydra.
Oh, you like to throw those out.
They're fun because it's more
Yeah, they're fun to fight.
mythology.
Hail Hydra.
Huh.
How about doppelgangers?
Doppelgangers are definitely fun.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Changelings
something I'd
also.
say iconic.
Not D&D iconic.
No. No, but
Fantasy, yes.
yeah. If we're talking just fantasy, yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think what else they're in though. like prevalent?
I know Supernatural.
Yeah, but again,
sure.
that's just kind of mythos. I don't know.
Yep. There's not a whole lot, actually.
I don't know. They might have been a D&D thing.
What?
We might
Just pretty much. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna edit it down. Unless I become lazy, but I plan on editing it down.
You should.
Just meet the 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Well, we can't get revenue yet anyway. You have to hit 100 subs.
Doesn't matter. Hit the 10-minute mark and it'll say,
Or 1,000
hey.
subs.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You gotta get that many people to watch this shit.
Video will be 10:01. Do you have any others?
No.
I think that's about it. I don't really have anything else I can think of off
Nothing
the top of
that's,
my head.
Too iconic.
I like to use certain things more so than others, but like kobolds, goblins. I mean, those are kind of the obvious ones, but there's more so.
I think that's another video of just like best monsters to
Low
run.
levels.
In
Yeah.
Yeah, fun monsters to run in a D&D campaign. So,
I think so. You want to do the outro? I don't really have one.
ladies and gentlemen, until next time. Fucking imagine.
Imagine hitting the subscribe button.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
free.
Wow, what a plug, dude.